Robbie Stadium in South Florida. The Raiders 2-3, Miami 4-2, sold out. 75,000 fans on a windy but comfortable for this time of the year, this part of the country. 80-degree day. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Bob Trumpy. The Miami Dolphins home disappointed from a great opportunity in Buffalo. They were unable to beat the Bills. Thought they should have. A sobering defeat. Dan Marino, an off day, said he thinks he's home and it'll be much better today. The Raiders, on the other hand, they bring in that 4x100 relay team.
That track team, it's been written about. Certainly we talk about it. There is no question that the Raiders wide receivers have that all-out speed. But when you look at their numbers, something doesn't compute, Dick.
All right, let's look at these sprinters. Alexander Wright, twice the NFL's fastest man, 4 catches, no factor. James Jett has an Olympic gold medal, 5 catches, no factor. The Rocket Ismail, 14 catches, somewhat of a factor. But Tim Brown, who is the slowest of the 4, as he was last year, he's the anchor man in the passing game.
And Dick, I think what this tells you is that you can have speed, but you have to use it properly in football sense. And the first 3 guys, they use the speed, but they can't go into and out of the break precisely. So Tim Brown is the guy that Hostetler relies on the most because he runs the accurate patterns.
So how does Miami beat the Raiders?
2 very specific things. One, the front 7 of the Miami Dolphins must be able to stop the run. If the front 7 can stop the run, then the Miami defense can go with the zone. Keep the safeties deep, which basically neutralizes all of the speed of the Raider receivers.
And the Raiders, should they be able to run, they figure if they could run, say, for 100 yards, then it'll be their day. Don Shula, his great record in Miami continues. Last week, Marv Levy, who has the best record against Shula of any of the coaches he's ever faced, was able to beat Shula again. And now he faces the team that has given him the most trouble, the Los Angeles Raiders. 11-5 they have defeated Shula-coached Miami teams, while David Shula, his son, is 2-0 against the Raiders. That must be something they chat about during the offseason.
Yeah, son, how do you beat the Raiders? Don asks.
Art Shell, some would say the greatest left tackle in the history of the game, and you'll be watching the man that many feel is the best left tackle in football today, Richmond Webb of the Miami Dolphins, who protects Dan Marino so carefully. Marino's been sacked only once in the last 4 games. Raiders won the toss. They receive. Pete Stoyanovich to kick it off with Rocket Ismail and Alexander Wright, 2 of those sprinters deep for the silver and black. There's the Rocket from Notre Dame. Alexander Wright with him, not smiling now, but he was yesterday when we talked with him. His Auburn team upset Florida. And Stoyanovich puts it in play. A sailor taken by Rocket Ismail. And he runs into trouble at the 33-yard line, a 22-yard return. And here come the Los Angeles Raiders and the Haas. Jeff Hostetler was a 3rd-round pick of the Giants back in '84. Perry, the All-Pro Wisniewski, the veteran Mosbar, the big guard Gogan from Dallas, and Wilkerson, the offensive front. Ty Montgomery starts. We'll see more of Harvey Williams. Rathman, the ex-49er, the blocker and receiver. Brown and Wright, the wide outs, with Glover, the tight end. When they go to 3 wide, Rocket Ismail comes in for Rathman. And Rathman, boy, that's a surprise. The fullback gets the call and he turns the corner. Good gain for the Raiders of about 11, maybe even 12 yards by the fullback Rathman, who has been used sparingly all season. Jeff Cross, the rookie, the Giant rookie, Tim Bowens, Chuck Klingbeil, and Marco Coleman, the front 4 for the Dolphins, with Singleton Cox, another rookie, Aubrey Beavers at backer, Troy Vincent and J.B. Brown, the corners, and Michael Stewart from the Rams, Gene Atkins, the ex-Saint, at safety. Frankie Smith is the extra back in the Miami nickel. 14 yards for Rathman, who stayed in bounds until the 46-yard line. Hostetler underneath, and the ball is dropped at the 49-yard line. Rathman doesn't miss many of those. Brian Cox was right there.
Dick, last week this Miami defense, one of the things they emphasized was to stop the run. Well, they did in the first half against Buffalo, but Thurman Thomas ended up with 125 yards rushing, and that was absolutely the key to the Buffalo Bills victory. Raiders watch that film. Gentlemen, we can run the football.
Bills wound up with more than 200 yards rushing. Slicing to the 49-yard line, a pickup of almost 3. Tim Bowens, the rookie from Mississippi, #1 pick of the Dolphins, made the stop. He's down from 335 pounds. He told us yesterday, what, 311,
313. And Joe Green, of all people, calls this kid a thoroughbred. No telling what this kid might turn out to be as a defensive tackle.
He and Chester McLaughlin, who was built about the same way for the Raiders, very similar in the body style, quickness, and power. Hostetler goes long for Ismail, who makes a gallant try at the 5-yard line.
Dick, that was a message throw by Jeff Hostetler because Tim Brown was open over the middle and would have picked up the first down yardage. That's one of the things the Raiders try to do. They threaten you with the speed. Now, Ismail does an excellent job of running the pattern on top of Frankie Smith. But if you want the drive to stay alive, Tim Brown was open and should have gotten the ball. That's a very low percentage completion to try to make. But again, it's the message. We will go deep.
O.J. McDuffie and Scott Miller are deep. And here's the league's top punter, Jeff Gossett. And that one not very good. Will kick out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. He won't be happy with that one. 32 yards and our first timeout. Dan Marino gets ready to work. The wind in Buffalo last week seemed to bother him, and it's windy today here in South Florida. And Hannah Storm with a report.
It's uncharacteristically windy, Dick, here at Joe Robbie Stadium. In fact, kicker Pete Stoyanovich told me it's even windier than Buffalo, a game in which the Dolphins were second guessed for throwing into the wind and not running the ball more. I asked Don Shula about the wind today, and in a rather tongue-in-cheek comment, he told me if this keeps up, he's going to run the ball on every down. By the way, the Raiders were able to practice here yesterday. Jeff Hostetler's never played in Joe Robbie, and he said it really helped him determine how the wind is going to be a factor here. It's coming across the top of the stadium now from north to south, but when it hits the field, it rolls back in the other direction.
All right, Hannah, the first play by Marino, the wind not affecting that pass. Parmalee unable to pull it in. McLaughlin and Ball, two huge defensive tackles for the Raiders, pressuring Marino.
That first play, just the screen, that's to compensate for the wind. They don't want to try anything down the field, just trying to throw short here, get a little feel for just how windy it is in JRS.
With a good opening is out to the 26-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Here are the Dolphins offensively. The Pro Bowlers on the left side, Webb and Sims. Dellenbach the center. Gray, his first NFL start. Injury to Burt Widener. And Ron Heller, the veteran at right tackle. Marino has Byers, who's looking for his 110th consecutive game catching a ball. Parmalee, you've just seen. Fryer and Ingram outside. The All-Pro Keith Jackson is the tight end. And the 3-wide O.J. McDuffie comes in. He's in there now. Marino from the gun to McDuffie. That's good enough for a first down. James Trapp, number 37, with a stop.
Dick, you can see what the Raiders are doing already here. The Dolphins are so gifted in this 3rd down package. They went with a 6 defensive back set. And Marino finds McDuffie just hooking up underneath James Trapp. This is maybe the best part of Miami's game and has been for years, this 3rd down package.
Yeah, remember how often we saw Tony Nathan coming out of the backfield making that 3rd down catch for the Dolphins.
Jim Jensen.
Jim Kick.
Jim Kick.
Parmalee. who played at Ball State, was undrafted, and he had a big game last week at Buffalo, 91 yards. Picks up a sizable count on first down against this defense. Harrison moves outside. The former Lion and Brown ball, and McLaughlin huge inside. Anthony Smith, the top pass rusher for Los Angeles. Fredrickson, the top pick out of Michigan State, is a starter now. Beekert and Moss, the other backers. McDaniel's been brilliant. He has 3 defensive touchdowns. Albert Lewis, not many better. Hoskins and Anderson are the hitters at safety. Lionel Washington comes in the Pirate as the extra defensive back. Parmalee again, and he struggles close, and here's a first down out to the 42-yard line. Aaron Wallace makes the tackle.
For years, this Miami Dolphins offense has suffered from a lack of running game. Mark Higgs had 2 seasons when he rushed for over 900 yards, but they've never really been able to rely totally on that running game. With Parmalee, who last year had a grand total of just 4 carries, it was basically a special teamer. There's Higgs on the sideline. Parmalee now has emerged as a running back with the injury to Terry Kirby that they can rely on. Isn't that something?
First down, draw play to Parmalee, who gets across the 45-yard line. A gain of nearly 4. Chester McLaughlin, who played at Clemson, makes the stop. That's 21 yards now for Parmalee.
And Dick, this is a drive that's designed into the wind. Throw short, throw concise, don't take chances like they did last week. Run the ball, establish a lot of things here early for Miami.
Well, 2 weeks ago we saw Chicago use that philosophy to beat Buffalo. Last week we saw Buffalo employ that technique in beating Miami, and now Don Shula says maybe it's my turn. 185. Marino hit from behind, stripped of the ball, and the Raiders have it. Nolan Harrison stripped it away. Marino didn't see him. And it appeared Chester McLaughlin and Jerry Ball, one of those two, came up with the ball. Unless Heller at the last minute wrestled it away underneath the pile.
Marino's coming out the field. It's Raiders ball, Dick. Harrison on the outside pass rush. You see Harrison right here. He gets around Richmond Webb, the Pro Bowler, just throws him out of the way. Knocks the ball out of Marino's hand. Raiders ball.
At the 42 of Miami. And a magnificent weekend and a nice start for Nolan Harrison, who strips Marino, beating Richmond Webb in the process, and the Raiders have it at the 41. Jerry Ball recovered the fumble, and Hostetler gives to Montgomery. He's down to the 37, a pickup of 4. Richmond Webb, who has allowed now only 2 sacks all season long in protecting Marino, and Harrison beat him quickly.
Threw him right out of the way. Harrison just his 2nd sack of the season, and it results in the turnover.
Harrison, who started the year playing inside at a defensive tackle position, moved to a defensive end last week. 2nd and 6. Flags down. The Dolphins were offside. Almost intercepted by Gene Atkins, who cut in front of Rathman. But the interception probably wouldn't have counted. The Dolphins leaned into the neutral zone. Marco Coleman at defensive right end seemed to be the culprit. Bob McElwee is our referee today.
Offside, number 90, defense, 5 yards, 2nd down.
Don Shula's team penalized 12 times last week, a Miami record.
And he said when we talked to him yesterday, he said about half of them really hurt. I mean, really hurt. He said it's not like my football team, and it starts again. All the defensive lineman has to do is watch the football.
2nd and 1. Big hole for Harvey Williams at the 20, and he's inside the 15. Williams' first carry produces a big gainer. Gene Atkins made the stop, 18 yards, and that's the longest run by a Raider running back all season.
The tight end Glover comes up through the line of scrimmage and whams on the linebacker, Beavers 53. Nobody there to make the tackle.
Well, that has to feel good for Harvey Williams because his memories of Joe Robbie Stadium from a year ago are not very pleasant. We'll complete that story in a moment. First down at the 14. Williams. Nothing there. Drives for a couple. Cox and Singletary and Klingbeil all there for the stop. Harvey Williams, who a year ago playing in the uniform of the Kansas City Chiefs, was crushed on a tackle by Brian Cox, knocked out, and for precautionary reasons taken to the hospital by helicopter. So he said, I want to get back here and do something positive so I can erase those memories.
That was a heck of a hit by Brian Cox. There is no question about that.
Tim Brown in motion. Montgomery. Collared at the 12 by Michael Stewart.
That was a saving tackle, Dick. Raiders had the corner captured, and if Stewart doesn't get a hold of the shoulder pads of Ty Montgomery, he goes in. Wisniewski 26 out in front. Boy, there's a nice alley there for him to run right down to the goal line.
Ball at the 12, third down. Arizona in getting inside the 20. Good protection for Hostetler. Wide open is Tim Brown, and he has a first down at the Miami 3-yard line. Gene Atkins and Frankie Smith made the stop. Excellent protection for Hostetler to search out an open man.
This is just a little delay pattern by Tim Brown. I'm surprised that Miami's running a zone down there in the goal line. Frankie Smith is the man who makes the tackle, but kind of surprised you see a zone down there because the inline neutralizes the speed of the Raider receivers.
Impressive opening drive by the Los Angeles Raiders. Little confusion here, however. Hostetler throws it away. Tim Brown well covered. J.B. Brown is there.
I see that Raiders have had trouble in here for a number of reasons. One, this is not a great run blocking offensive line. They've had trouble running the ball, and the defense does not have to protect yardage behind them. There's only 13 yards from where the ball is to the inline, so suddenly it gets very crowded for the Raiders offense.
Trying to capitalize on the fumble by Dan Marino, forced by Nolan Harrison, and Harvey Williams joins Tom Rathman behind Hostetler. On second and goal. Hostetler, a great scrambler, and he loses a yard. Tackle made by Gene Atkins.
But how many quarterbacks do you see put their head down, play fullback at the goal line like Jeff Hostetler does? Nobody open. And it looks like Jeff Cross, set 91, does get in there and makes him flush out of the pocket a little bit, but then Hostetler turns fullback.
It's recorded as a sack for Atkins. Third and goal at the 4. Miami trying to stop a trend. Hostetler doesn't get in. Atkins stopped him at the 1-yard line along with Klingbeil.
Art Shell has already sent the field goal team out on the field. Hostetler last year led the Raiders in rushing touchdowns. Atkins down on a knee. That's how tough that Hostetler is. Safety hits me, man, I put him out of the game. Again, no one to throw to. Decent protection.
Similar to the play previous where they pin Cross inside and Hostetler tries to get in. Boy, that's quite a collision. Atkins denying. That's a Ken Houston tackle down there in the goal line.
But you know, if you're a Raider fan, you don't want to see your quarterback in that kind of jeopardy. Hostetler sacked 50 times last year, has taken multiple hits in the backfield, and now he's exposing himself to injuries and hits like that.
Richmond Webb, the defense, perhaps, unless this is a fake, Only going to cost the Dolphins 3 points for his missed block as Atkins is helped off, and ball's inside the 1, but Shell wants to come away with points on this turnover. And Jaeger, this is shorter than an extra point, 19 yards. And he punches it through. Nolan Harrison's sacked fumble. The daily double gives the Raiders a short field goal and the lead. Raiders on a 19-yard Jaeger field goal have the early lead, 3-0, just under 5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Jaeger to kick it off to O.J. McDuffie, and rookie Irving Spikes. It's to McDuffie's side at the 3. Falls down, not by contact, and then crawls across the 20-yard line. Well, the Raiders, who have not had many long runs the last 2 years from running backs, get a good one on that drive to the field goal.
Yeah, this is the one by Harvey Williams. An excellent blocking job. And you see Harvey Williams come right up through a tight end wham. 87 Glover, and also an excellent block by Tom Rathman, 44. There's the lane you're looking for. It ends up being an 18-yard pickup.
And Gene Atkins, here's a 4-point tackle as Hostetler, looking for that goal line, had the momentum, and Atkins denied. Parmalee, good blocking. He squirts out to the 32, almost a first down, and maybe it is. Eddie Anderson makes the stop.
Interesting thing about the Miami Dolphins, they've got this fullback named Keith Byers. Seldom carries the football, but likes to be a receiver and also an excellent lead blocker. Told us yesterday, look, when the running back behind me gets 100 yards, I feel complimented because I'm a big part of it. On that particular run, excellent lead block by Keith Byers.
They'll measure for a first down.
By the way, Byers
just that short. Byers, the former Eagle, no running back in history, had a string of catches that reached 100, and he's looking for a catch today that'll make it 110. And look at the names on that list. Largent and Monk, tight end. Newsom, Rice, Carmichael, a tight end. Gray, and Byers 7th all-time in consecutive games with a catch. Mark Higgs now has replaced Parmalee on 2nd and short. And Higgs going to lose. Fumble is picked up by Anthony Smith, and Smith has a Raider touchdown. Oh my, the 5th Raider touchdown this year, scored by the defense. 24 yards as Higgs' first carry becomes a Miami disaster.
Dick, the Miami Dolphins just signed Cleveland Gary, and we may have seen the last carry of Mark Higgs as a Miami Dolphin. He was kind of on the bubble with Cleveland Gary coming in here from the Rams, and his teammates are trying to encourage him, but talking to Higgy yesterday at practice, and he said, I don't know, I can't get much respect here. Well, plays like that, there's only one way that you go, and that's out the door.
Interesting call on 2nd and inches, wasn't it?
But he kind of bounced out there himself. He made that choice, Dick.
Jaeger's try for point is good, and the Raiders lead it 10-0. The team that has caused Don Shula more difficulty than any other in the league, the Raiders. And it's Terry McDaniel who comes in to make the tackle and the strip.
That's not a big hit that knocked the ball away, but it popped out of there. It was ejected from his arms.
Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium, where the Raiders scored after a Mark Higgs fumble. Presumably the reason that Higgs was in the game instead of the starting running back Bernie Parmalee is that Parmalee had trouble with a contact. He lost a contact in one of his eyes and had to put it back in and was unable to go into the game at that point, Dick.
All right, Hannah, O.J. McDuffie breaking tackles and finds some daylight, and finally taken down at the 32-yard line. Let's go back to the fumble by Higgs. And Terry McDaniel's had such a sensational year, makes the tackle.
Coming this way. Well, he's got a hold of the football, but that's not a big bone-jarring hit that normally knocks the ball away. Higgy has not gotten a lot of practice time, and certainly not. He's sharing the the playing time with Bernie Parmalee, but Don Shula, I mean, you don't want to go in there on Monday because you know what the jaw is going to say to you.
Loss of a lens, loss of the ball, and could be loss of the game, huh? 10-0. Marino stares at a deficit. Starts from his 32. An infrequent pass, and Byers' record is extended to 110 consecutive games. 10-0 here in Florida. Let's check elsewhere. To New York we go.
All right, Dick, at Pittsburgh, big loss for the Steelers. Running back Barry Foster's second play of the game hit behind the line for a loss, but he's also lost for the day. He suffered a sprained left knee on the play. This game is scoreless in the first quarter, the Steelers and the Bengals. Back to Miami, Dick and Bob.
All right, Greg, not good news for the Steelers. Their star running back with a knee injury, and he didn't look very happy.
He's their offense.
2nd and 5 after the 5-yard pass to Byers, and here's Parmalee. Oh, he's explosive and driving for about 10 out to the 47-yard line before Terry McDaniel can get him.
It's amazing how someone can sit so idly by for a year and then with the injury to Terry Kirby emerge as this great running back. Nice pull, Keith Sims. Excellent job, Keith Byers, 41. That's creating that lane. That's easy for Parmalee. We give him the credit, but the work is done by the guys up front, Byers and Keith Sims.
40 yards already for Parmalee. First down, just shy of the 48.
Jackson.
Boy, 54, Greg Biekert, the middle linebacker, into Marino's face. He had to unload, and Byers was the closest white jersey.
And Dick, this is something that the Miami Dolphins, you don't normally see. Normally these things are picked up, but Biekert is untouched, and Keith Jackson, the tight end, was wide open if Marino has a split second to sit. And look at the receiver. You can see his ankle, that ankle brace. He's not very mobile back there, but timely blitz.
Biekert was one of the stars last week that hit on the goal line on Turner of New England to deny the Patriots a chance to tie.
40, 40, 40, 40.
Complete to Mark Ingram. He's down at the 45 of the Raiders as Miami invades LA territory for the first time. It's shy of a first down by about 2.5.
And again, a very conservative pass, the slant. Nothing up top, nothing. Taking a chance with throwing the ball up into this wind.
Don Shula, he's 65 next January. Looking for win number 332 in his career. The all-time record. Oh, that's not right. It's 3rd down and 2. And dropped. Anthony Smith, the touchdown maker, able to get Parmalee from the backside and deny the first down.
Tough choice here for Don Shula.
And he's going to send out the punting team.
That was quick. That was a quick decision.
Early in the game, don't get yourself in a position where you give the Raiders the ball at midfield. Already leading by 10. Tim Brown, dangerous on the return, moves back inside the 15. Pretty good average, 15.5. He's the all-time punt returner in Raider history now. Arnold, the veteran who kicked for Detroit, sends a beautiful spiral toward the coffin corner. Hits the goal line. Hit the goal line. Just missed by a few blades of grass of being a magnificent kick. 44 yards, but 24 on the net. Well, the Raiders start at the 20, and we remind you that tonight the only place you're going to find football on television is right here on NBC. Network television premiere of the football comedy Necessary Roughness tonight at 9, 8 Central here on NBC. 2 fumbles have led to the 10 points for the Raiders.
Well, they have lived by those defensive touchdowns, haven't they? 5 on the season in 6.5 games.
Smith getting the score today, his first NFL touchdown. With Jet in motion, Hostetler to throw. Flag down. Wide open is Jet at the 40 to 50. And down at the Miami 40. Will it count? Holding is the call against the Raiders. Negates a 40-yard pass and run.
Illegal use of hands. Hands to the face. Number 68, offense. 10 yards, first down.
Could see it right in front of it. It's on Jeff Cross. Wilkerson, yeah, hands right up underneath the face mask. Referee Bob McElwee calls it. No question about that.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one. Raiders live with these penalties.
Second to Houston. They were the two teams most penalized last year. Takes it back to the 10-yard line. Draw to Montgomery. Gets only 2. Chuck Klingbeil from Northern Michigan proudly says, I'm the only Youper in the NFL. Up there. His mom, a librarian up in the Upper Peninsula, Houghton, Michigan, playing with a very sore knee. Said, well, I thought maybe I wouldn't be playing this week, but we do have a bye week, and Coach Shula says you're playing.
Coach Shula doesn't like those MRIs, those X-rays. Get out there and play, kid.
End of a Raider quarter. Los Angeles Raiders recover 2 fumbles. One leads to a 19-yard field goal by Jaeger when Archell said, I'm not going for it 4th and less than a yard. And then Mark Higgs' fumble picked up by Anthony Smith, who rumbles 25 yards officially for a touchdown, and it's 10-0. The defense of the Raiders the key. Raiders now pinned deep in their own end. Ball just outside their 12-yard line. 2nd and 18. We open the second quarter. Dick Enberger, Bob Trumpy, and Hannah Storm in sunny Florida. Hostetler completes to his tight end, Andrew Glover. Aubrey Beavers, the rookie from Oklahoma, makes the tackle after a short gain, brings up 3rd and long. Interesting to see if the Raiders will do the same thing that the Dolphins did, and that is go very conservative into this gusting wind here in Joe Robbie Stadium. Don Shula sends in 3 extra defensive backs, brings out 2 linebackers and a defensive lineman. Harvey Williams, the lone running back behind Hostetler. And they sure tail him down. Marco Coleman, his 4th sack of the year. Oh, Brian Cox, he's a dangerous teammate. Coleman, probably the most improved defensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins. A little bigger, a lot stronger, and still at that speed. Look at that hand strength. Boy, he grabs the back of Hostetler's jersey, and it's like a sheet on the back rope drying out. Yes, sir. And then the tackle. Watch out. Never turn your back on Brian Cox on the field. Gossett to punt. McDuffie deep. Almost blocked. McDuffie comes up and takes a wallop. Dan Land downs him at the 48-yard line. A 32-yard kick. No return. Timeout. Don Shula has to be happy that his team's in the second quarter. Another goose egg in the first period. The Dolphins have scored in 7 games. Only 6 first quarter points. A couple of field goals. And this is a high-scoring offense. One of the best in the league. It's amazing. Now Marino gets good field position at the 48 of the Raiders after the short punt into the wind. Covered by Albert Lewis. Dick, and you see the difference. Miami's approach. First snap with the wind. Let's try to get it downfield. Ingram runs the out and up. And Albert Lewis was right with him step for step. Danny admitted to us that he probably tried a little too hard to force it in there last week against Buffalo. Wish he'd thrown in a few more audibles. Taken the underneath stuff. Kept the chains moving. Unusual for Marino. Is that ankle, the Achilles injury, and the brace that he wears? 2nd and 10 and shotgun. An indication again that they're going to go to the passes now here in the second period. Underneath and complete. On the run, Irving Fryer with his 30th catch of the season. He's off to a terrific start. Thought there might be more, but Albert Lewis, the All-Pro, was on his heels.
This is a very short pattern. As you're going to see the traffic created. See a little hesitation by Irving Fryer. In better shape. 5% body fat. Does a lot more stretching. Reverend Irving Fryer is a young man who has probably put 5 more years in his career.
I was fascinated by umpire Dennis Riggs. He was dodging 2 receivers and the ball all at one time. 4 for 7 for Marino. He gets the short pass. The tackle by Trapp on O.J. McDuffie. But forward progress to the 36-yard line. First down.
Dolphins running a lot of motion, Dick, to free up receivers. They're getting man-on-man coverage by the Raider defensive backs, and these defensive backs are just getting caught in all the crowd just across the line of scrimmage, including the umpire. He can be in the way too.
Art Shell in his 6th season and a major acquisition in Albert Lewis from Kansas City, not only for his talent but for his leadership and tutoring the young DBs. First down toss to Parmalee. He does get it going, doesn't he? Hoskins, the safety, with a tackle. 50 yards for Parmalee in this opening half.
Watch the acceleration once he recognizes where he wants to go. Byers lead block. Parmalee stays right on his hip, and that first step upfield, boom. The great running backs have that acceleration. They also have confidence in their lead blockers to put them in the right spot. Parmalee, this guy's not a surprise. He's a shock.
It was on 2nd and 1 where Higgs fumbled. It led to a Raider touchdown. Will Marino go for something on 2nd and 1? Yep. Parmalee, something big. Oh, through the hands of Parmalee on the sidelines. Good coverage by Rob Fredrickson, the linebacker, who showed his speed. He stayed right with the running back.
Parmalee runs the out and up, and Fredrickson, the first pick of the Los Angeles Raiders, was a true drop linebacker for Michigan State. Excellent coverage linebacker. Fredrickson is right here. Here's Parmalee. He runs the out and up. Fredrickson stays right with him. Told us when training camp began, they moved him inside. He was lost when they moved him back outside. Hey, that's fine coverage by a linebacker.
Even at that, the ball was right there. 3rd and a yard, and Parmalee struggling to get a first down and is shy.
They got to go for it.
Those big guys inside, and Shula says go for it. Jerry Ball, well over 300. McLaughlin, over 310 pounds, shoulder to shoulder. And even when they only have a 4-man front, it's tough to run in there, much less when they fill every gap.
Dick, Ball and McLaughlin not only 300-plus pounds, but not particularly tall. So it's a low center of gravity, hard to move them off the ball.
Very little gain on that 3rd down try by Parmalee up the middle, so 4th and 1. Byers and Parmalee behind Marino. Flag down. Parmalee close to the first down, but it appeared that Byers might have moved prematurely.
Boy, again, Don Shula saying things he just can't stand in this football team.
That from a veteran who's gone through it so many times. Yep. A legal motion. 2 fumbles, 2 penalties already on the Dolphins. They're going to measure first, and if it's not a first down, the Raiders, of course, will take the ball. Going to be close. Wow. The first down. Raiders take over on down.
41 offense. The penalty is declined. First down.
Well, the Los Angeles Raiders defense putting on a show at Joe Robbie Stadium. 10-0. Raiders defense denying Dan Marino and the Dolphins 2 running plays on 3rd and 1. Unable to convert. Byers penalty not significant, and they didn't get the first down anyway. So taking over at the 27 is Hostetler. Gives to Harvey Williams for a couple yards. Harvey Williams from LSU, number 22, but Williams more than a number. last year. Kansas City, number 44, Williams. Brian Cox, 51, helmet to helmet, the fumble, and Williams KO'd, and for more than 10 minutes was on the field here at Joe Robbie, and finally taken to the emergency hospital. Cox, the linebacker there, sights in on him, and Williams okay, and now in the new uniform. Tim Brown with a flag down to the 36-yard line. Singleton makes the tackle. The thing about the injury to Williams was that the fumble became more important to his life than the injury, because Marty Schottenheimer basically didn't play him the rest of the year.
That's right, and there was a big argument as to whether Harvey was healthy or not. Harvey said he was. Marty said he wasn't. But the net result was, you're right, he didn't play much after that, and Harvey holds it against Marty Schottenheimer.
Penalty against Gerald Perry for holding, and that'll take the Raiders half the distance into the 18-yard line.
Dick, you mentioned earlier about Harvey Williams when he was with Kansas City with 230. Now he's under 210. Doesn't eat red meat. Been jogging on the California beach. He said, you know, people out there on the left coast, they're very health conscious.
He wants to look good.
Yes, he does.
From the 18, second down and long. Hostetler caught from behind, gets it away, complete to Williams, and Cox pushes him out of bounds. There's a yellow flag back at the 16.
Boy, have we seen Jeff Hostetler drag down, hit, abuse so far in this first quarter and a half?
Bob McElwee checking the officials. He indicates it's against the Raiders with that thumb throw over the right shoulder.
Yeah, this is going to be 3rd and a 3-wood.
Holding, number 76, offense. Half the distance to the goal line. Second down.
That'll take it inside the 10 to the 9-yard line.
Let's see. Here's where the holding takes place. Wisniewski. Oh, yeah, that's a takedown. That's a takedown. Good call.
Into Williams, hoping to catch the Dolphins, looking for something outside or a pass, and they were ready for the run. Gets only 2. Meanwhile, the concern for the health of the quarterback of the Raiders continues. Hostetler in this first half has taken 4 very solid hits already.
His teammates have said, look, don't put yourself in that kind of jeopardy. But Hostetler learned from Phil Simms when he was with the Giants that any chance you get to show your toughness, do it. And he does it.
Third down, 26. Did get that away as Brian Cox levels Hostetler.
That's 5 big hits.
And he passes the test of toughness once again.
Dolphins, they play Cox at middle linebacker, but they move him up on the pass rush because of his speed. Oh, man. Boom. That's... Well, you got to hold the guy if he's got that clean a shot on your quarterback. You can't turn the guy loose.
Gossett's dying spiral takes a Miami bounce and out of bounds at the 44-yard line. When we come back, Marino and Miami down by 10. Brian Cox, a vicious attacker, now playing in that middle linebacker spot, leads the Dolphins with 45 hits, and the last one was on Hostetler. Down 10-0. Marino sets up at the Raider 44. Screens it incomplete to Parmalee as Jerry Ball was quickly on top of Marino. Well, Hostetler, after that last hit down on his goal line, left the field, threw the helmet, and really barked at Gerald Perry.
And also Wilkerson, the guy who allowed Brian Cox around him. That, by the way, was Brian Cox's first sack of the season from that middle linebacker spot.
It wasn't a sack.
It wasn't called a sack?
Incomplete pass.
I stand corrected, sir.
But it was close. 2nd and 10 for Marino. Parmalee appeared to start upfield prematurely, and the throw way short. Derek Hoskins was the closest player, and Parmalee was down the sideline.
And Dick, they're getting just enough pressure in the face of Dan Marino, which has always been what teams have tried to do, is collapse the pocket back into the face of Dan Marino, and he's hurrying the throw, not really sitting very comfortably in the pocket.
He's 5 for 11 today, 31 yards. Missed on his last 3 throws. 8:15 remaining in this first half. 10-0 Raiders. Quickie over the middle to Williams, and Mike Williams has the catch.
Shula's got another decision now.
Close to a first down, but about a yard and a half. 4th down. Mike Williams, 4th catch of the season.
You saw the signal from Don Shula out to Dan Marino. Probably personnel, because Greg Beatty, an extra tight end, comes in.
Like the goal line offense for Shula, where he often likes to throw to one of those tight ends.
Not above that.
Beatty is the wing on the right side. Marino.
He only had 4 seconds left on the 25-second clock. Now it's reset. He gets another 25.
And Hartzell said, "What's that all about?"
Yeah. They're just trying to draw him off.
Yep, and Marino calls time. So on 4th and 1, we'll see whether Miami goes for the field goal or the touchdown, but first to New York.
All right, Dick, at the Meadowlands, the New England Patriots have pulled even with the Jets. Drew Bledsoe 3 yards to Ray Crittenden, and with the extra point, it's a 7-7 tie between the Patriots and the Jets in East Rutherford. Let's go back to Miami.
Well, the winner of that game will go 4-3 and establish themselves as a threat in the AFC East. Miami and Buffalo, the front runners, at 4-2 coming into this weekend. Well, this is really a most important moment for the Miami Dolphins. They're down 10-0. They were stopped on 4th and 1. The Raider defense has really muscled it up, and if they stop the Finns, as they call them, again, the Raiders could feed off that.
This is deja vu. Dolphins had the same problem in Buffalo last week, and you know what that resulted in? A loss. Normally, when this offense has its rhythm, it is a very difficult offense to even disrupt, let alone stop. But they put enough middle pocket pressure on Dan Marino to really upset it.
They'll not go for what would be about a 53-yard field goal.
That middle pressure, maybe, again, they found a way that Buffalo could do it last week.
Again, the 3 tight ends used by Miami. Beatty in motion.
Beatty.
For the first down. They go to the tight end. First down at the 28. Greg Beatty, his 2nd catch of the season. And Shula says, "How tough is this?"
2nd catch, first one that didn't result in a touchdown. You'll see Beatty come out of the crowd here from the left. There he is.
Somebody isn't blocking Jerry Ball. Jerry Ball was in on Marino's insteps as he threw that one.
Well, they're trying to block him, but they've also got an injury. Bert Widener, and they've got the young man Gray in there starting. And Jerry Ball is a load for anybody.
6.5 minutes left in this opening half. Good protection this time. Almost intercepted by Beaker. Intended for Parmalee, the running back, running a deep circle over the middle.
Yes. Beaker was underneath. Rob Fredrickson, the man in coverage. It's going to happen all to your left. See Parmalee go out of the backfield. Beaker had an excellent drop, reading Marino's eyes. He just can't get his hands up in time. These 2 young guys, Beaker and Fredrickson, playing extremely well for this Raider defense.
7th round selection a year ago, combining with Fredrickson. I guess the 2 of them, along with Rob Holmberg from Penn State, a rookie, they're quite inseparable.
3 Musketeers.
Marino hitting 50%, 7 of 14. 6 different receivers. This time to Byers on the ground. Keith Byers bowling his 250 pounds plus inside the 25.
Dick, Miami's searching here. They are really searching for something that they can put their offense on, some kind of hook, some place where they can run the ball.
You can hear those defensive coordinators say, make them earn it. Boy, yes. Miami has earned every penny of this first half.
Nothing has come easy for Miami. You're absolutely right.
Timeout is called by the Raiders, by the Los Angeles Raiders. 5:45 left in the first half. Welcome back to Raiders first-year defensive coordinator John Fox. His team gave up 44 to the Niners and 38 to Seattle in the first two games, but they've really tightened up things. Then 16 to Denver, 26 to San Diego, 17 last week, and they have stymied Miami in this first half today. 3rd and long. And hear the gusts of wind. Hits Irving Fryer, and Fryer running through a tackle of Lionel Washington. First down, Miami.
Irving is a tough dude. Always has been. One of the best blocking receivers in the league. Again, though, pressure on Dan Marino. Looks like Anthony Smith and Nolan Harrison got his arm in. But look at this. Fryer puts his head down, runs right over Washington to keep the drive alive. That was a big play, Dick. Convert that 3rd down.
At the 15-yard line, the Dolphins' deepest penetration. To the end zone. Touchdown. Check it. No, Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson has the touchdown. The tight end's 4th of the year.
Man responsible for coverage was Greg Beekert. Jackson gave him an out move, went right up into the end zone. Beekert bit on the out move.
Well, you hear everyone talk about the quickness of arm of Marino. There was a classic delivery. Marino got that ball out in a hurry.
Not a lot of space, and that quick arm buys you space in the end zone.
Out of Jim Arnold's hold. And the Dolphins are within 3 of the Raiders, 10-7.
This is Beekert right here. Here's Jackson. He comes up, gives the out move, and then up into the end zone. Beekert bites on the out move, and you're going to see just how little room there is for Marino to get it in. But that quick release, the ball is gone before Jackson even looks. Dick, you're absolutely right. That release, it buys you space. Now again,
that's worth a couple of steps, that quick throw.
Watch the move outside. Beekert buys. Jackson goes right by him. And then right between the 8 and the 8. When you have linebacker coverage on a guy like tight end, eventually Jackson's going to get it. Look at the ball get out of round. Not thrown particularly well by Dan Marino.
His 16th touchdown pass of the year, Marino, who leads the NFL. Normal pattern. Moving ever closer to Fran Tarkenton's seemingly insurmountable record of 342 touchdown passes when he retired.
And didn't Marino tell you, I want all those records? I want every one of them.
Yeah, he announced that on our pregame NFL Live show.
Yeah.
But, I want to lead as the all-time greatest passer in terms of the numbers. Most yardage, most touchdowns, most completions. And he's about to move by Dan Fouts for the 2nd all-time yardage. He's already 2nd in touchdowns and 2nd in completions.
Suppose he carries a grudge. I mean, trying to prove to the NFL scouts that in '83 they were wrong by making him the last quarterback taken in the 1st round.
Well, I think he reminds himself.
Oh, yes, of course he does.
It took 8 plays to go the 44 yards and 3.5 minutes for the touchdown. 2nd in touchdown passes to Tarkenton, and in attempts, and in completions, and he's just behind Fouts. He figures to pass Dan Fouts next week.
But he'd trade all those numbers for a Super Bowl championship, wouldn't he?
Didn't hesitate when I asked him that.
Not a moment.
If it goes out of bounds, let it go. Going out of bounds, let it go.
It was the good defensive stand and the Raider penalties that set up field position. And then Brian Cox hitting Hostetler on the third down play down at the goal line. Oh, 10-7.
Dick, correct me if I'm wrong. All the points have been scored to the right end zone here with the wind, even though it's gusting. So we've got a scoring end zone. We've got a non-scoring end zone today.
And gust strong enough that Chris Green is going to have to hold the ball for Stoyanovich on the kickoff. Ismail and Alexander Ryder deep. To the Rocket side at the 18. By Bernie Parmalee.
Wait a minute, are there two number 30s out there? The answer to that question is no. As a running back, you take a lot of hits. On the kickoff coverage, you get the Gev one.
And the Rocket able to leave on its own power and held onto the ball. That's a couple of remarkable results out of that collision.
Maybe a play or two before the Rockets back in the huddle.
Hostetler and the Raiders at the 32. Haas underneath the Rathman. Flag down. Rathman out to the 45-yard line. First down if Troy Vincent made the tackle for Miami. It'll come back.
As we go back to in the grid, the touchdown scored by Keith Jackson. Watch Beekert, 54, in the red circle. You see zone coverage behind him, but he's got the coverage on the tight end. When the out move happens, Beekert takes one step out, and that's all that's necessary for Keith Jackson to get in the end zone. Miami's first score.
Ty Montgomery, guilty of being in motion. I think he headed upfield before the snap. This one to Jet, drop. Might have been deflected. It certainly took an interesting pattern. J.B. Brown on the coverage.
Dick, I think it was the wind. Now, it may have been Marco Coleman that got his hand on it, but that ball did really get out of round in a hurry. Just floated out there like a knuckleball. See if we can see it. Watch 90. Does he get his hand up in time? Yes. If the fingers get the ball out of round, and that baby just died right at Jet's feet.
Second and 15. Hostetler's now 2 for 7, just 15 yards passing. Incomplete. J.B. Brown denies James Jett. Flag down again. Another Raider penalty.
Marco Coleman, number 90, is having a whale of a first half. I don't know if the penalty is on Gerald Perry.
Holding. Number 71. Offense.
Are you telling me they're not
10 yards. Second.
You telling me they're not?
Jeff Hostetler trying to refute the call.
But again, Coleman having an excellent first half. You can see he's on Perry, and it's against the outside rush. And he throws Perry. Look at what he does to his head. Perry grabs that arm and pulls him down. And that's a result of that hit by Cox over Wilkerson. Now Gerald Perry holds him, makes sure he doesn't get another hit on the starting quarterback.
Dolphins decline the penalty. Third down 15. This crowd is in it now. Incomplete. Brian Cox made the hit.
Hostetler is holding on to that ball too long.
So the punting team on for the Raiders, and Miami with 4 minutes and a second left in the half will get it back.
Cox at the far side of the screen. He's on Wilkerson, goes by the quarterback and comes back. That ball close to intentional grounding there.
Gossett's punt, fair catch. McDuffie. Gossett limps off as there was slight contact as he delivered the punt. Next weekend, America versus Europe, the Solheim Cup, a determined American squad led by LPGA top 10 money winners that include Betsy King, Patty Sheehan, Beth Daniel against the European team. Solheim Cup next Saturday at 4 Eastern on NBC.
I think Arcello's telling us, get rid of the football. Haas is firing back.
Dolphins start from the 35-yard line. And the success on the running game
Wait a minute, Dick.
is out to the 40-yard line.
Dick, on the sideline, Art Shell, I believe, just pulled Jeff Hostetler. Hostetler talked back to him. Shell turned around and said, Vince, get ready.
To read lips, and it's fairly apparent that you don't talk to me that way is the essence of the message from Shell to his quarterback. 2nd and 5, and properly twisted down by Winston Moss, who played here at the University of Miami. It's 3rd and 5.
Here's the two of them was talking on the sideline. Art Shell is certainly trying to make a point, and Art, among other things, said, Vince, you get ready. Vince tries to console Jeff Hostetler, and the Raiders are leading. They're not down 10-0. They're leading 10-7.
Yeah, but Art Shell making his point. I'm the coach.
Yes.
You're not the coach. Part of the Raider mystique. 3rd and 5. Marino up on top, incomplete to McDuffie, and good coverage by James Trapp. Hostetler now venting his feelings upstairs, not to that man, Al Davis.
Tom Walsh is the offensive coordinator. That's who he's talking to, Tom Walsh.
Meanwhile, the defense certainly doing its job, has stopped Miami again, and on 4th down and 5, Jim Arnold to punt to Tim Brown. Brown at the 20-yard line. Beautiful kick by Arnold, who has not been so successful of late. At the 11, Brown. It's about 6 yards on the return. The tackle made by 52, Brant Boyer, a rookie from Arizona. Now, the drama on the Raider sidelines.
Well, they got both of them there, Vince Evans and Jeff Hostetler.
Hostetler pleading, saying, hey, I'm sure he's apologized at this point.
Vince Evans is coming out. Look, Paul Brown told us one time in a team meeting, don't hold me responsible for what I say on the sideline during a football game. We all get emotional. I won't hold you responsible. I would prefer to have Art Shell, being an ex-player, know the emotion of Jeff Hostetler, put him back in the game.
This could be just a one-series thing.
I hope no more than that.
Art Shell told us yesterday that he was concerned about how long Hostetler and his bravado was holding on to the ball, and now it's Evans taking over on the 16, and Evans is going to get the play off in time, and the Raiders spend a timeout. Now Jeff Hostetler, the starting quarterback, roughed up in this first half, holding the ball too long, and in part after he yelled at his lineman over there. Art Shell, a former lineman, I have a feeling was saying, hey, it's not all their fault.
Well, that's true.
You're holding on to the ball too long. Don't be barking at the guys trying the best they can. And he's looking out for the entire team. And look at that, Hostetler, when he comes in, I'd put him at running back.
There are moments in a head coach's life where you have to take control of the football team, and Art Shell just handed a message to Jeff Hostetler. You make more money, I got the job.
Oldest man on offense in the league, Vince Evans, comes out throwing and completes it out to Darryl Hobbs. His 5th catch of the season after a brilliant preseason where he led the Raiders. Troy Vincent, the tackler. That might take us to the 2-minute timeout.
Well, everybody is coming over here to try to console Jeff Hostetler. He was talking to Mike White on the sideline. Now he's talking to fellow teammates. Haas is still beside himself.
Well, there's the restrainer, McLaughlin. 315. He can restrain. 2-minute timeout in Miami. Emotion is expressed in many ways in sport. It goes no deeper than how that man feels right now. Harvey Williams close to a first down. That was a 2nd down carry.
You hope as a player that all the emotion you have built up you turn against your opponent, not against a teammate. That's wasted emotion.
Timeout for the measurement at the 1:48 mark of this first half. Let's go back to where, well, it really started with the hits taken by Hostetler and the fact that his offensive linemen were committing penalties. And then Hostetler, after chewing out his offensive line, then apparently didn't agree with what Art Shell said to him. You saw that debate, and then Shell said, all right, Vince, get ready.
Well, there was no hesitation on Art Shell's part. Whatever Haas said, it was Art Shell's hot button.
Well, we've seen on the near sidelines Marino and Shula in that same sort of encounter, haven't we?
Yeah, but I don't think Shula has ever pulled Dan Marino because of the emotion.
First down of the 2nd quarter. Now Evans throws incomplete. Glover dislodged by Troy Vincent, who's some 40 pounds lighter.
Glover on the inside runs the out. Good zone coverage. Troy Vincent back from that knee problem. Always has that good closing speed. Great corners have that closing speed. Vincent certainly has it.
2nd and 10. Vincent Evans at quarterback for Hostetler. Evans 39. He's a year younger than Jackie Slater, who's on the injured list for the Rams. So he got the good arm. Incomplete in the arms of his receiver, and Troy Vincent knocked it away again. Darryl Hobbs had it for a moment, and Vincent's tackle knocked it free.
Perfect timing by Vincent, and it looked like Hobbs' 2nd foot came down. Didn't know if he had clear control of the football, but this is just a hitch pattern. Ball's thrown a little late. No, he never had control. Never had control.
Oh, Evans is 1 for 3 for 8 yards, and the incomplete pass is stopping the clock. And should Miami hold the Raiders, these fans feel they've got a chance before the half ends. Evans flushed out, and Jeff Cross has the sack. The 3rd sack of this first half for Miami. And for Cross, he now is tied with Marco Coleman on the season, each with 4. Miami calls time, 1:22 left, and they're going to get the ball.
Well, at least Vince Evans didn't throw an interception, or there wasn't a turnover when Evans came in.
Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report coming up with Greg Gumbel and 2 Super Bowl champion coaches to analyze and comment on the action of the early games today. And I would want to hang around just to hear what Ditka and Gibbs would say. Where do you cross the line with your coach and you yank your starting quarterback?
I think Joe Gibbs generally had a better relationship with his quarterbacks than did Mike Ditka with Jim McMahon and others there. Might be interesting.
He and Jim Harbaugh got along just fine, didn't they?
Beautifully. Beautifully. It will be interesting to see exactly what their reaction is to this.
Gossett. It's a twister to McDuffie at the 33. Returnable. But good coverage by the Raiders. McDuffie gets about 9 on the return to the 42. Dan Land makes another special teams tackle, and Marino has 1 minute 11 seconds to try to move his team downfield for at least a possible tying field goal.
Dick, we noticed that Lionel Washington left the field. He's an extra defensive back, and the Raiders have used 7 defensive backs here in the long yardage situations against the Dolphins. Interesting to see what they'll do here.
The Dolphins have 1 timeout.
6 DBs by the Raiders.
And Marino uses the gun. Out of the backfield of Byers. Trying to get to the sidelines and does with a second effort. Stops the clock, saves the timeout, moves to the 49 of the Raiders, where it'll be 2nd and 1.
Again, that's linebacker coverage on Keith Byers. You're going to see everybody clear out here, and here's the matchup. Byers in the backfield, Beaker at the middle linebacker, and it looks to me like Byers is the only person that Dan Marino is looking for. Makes the catch, gets the yardage, and gets out of bounds to stop the clock.
He leads the Dolphins now with 36 catches. Byers on the season. Batted in the air, and Marino has to break up the interception. Jerry Ball. They just are unable to stop the penetration of Jerry Ball.
It was going to be a middle screen to Keith Byers. It should set up right in front of you. And there's that big paw by Jerry Ball.
Oh, Aaron Wallace.
Knocks it away.
Aaron Wallace was right there, and Marino saved it.
Didn't I see Dan Marino do that a long time ago in some Super Bowl? Actually, it was Joe Theismann who did that to avoid the interception by a Raider.
Marino. Flag down. Throw is complete. Mike Williams again. 4-year wide receiver from Northeastern who had 4 catches in his first 4 years in Miami and now has 5 this season. Donald Frank on the coverage. And James Trapp lined up on the line of scrimmage. Might have been the man offside in the neutral zone. It stops the clock for the moment.
Offside. Number 93 defense.
No, it was ball.
Decline. First down.
So it's a first down at the 37 as they take the completed pass. 52 seconds remain in the half. 10-0 10-7 Los Angeles. Marino going deep for Williams. Well covered. Yeah, Donald Frank on the outside, and then Derek Hoskins helping out at safety. Well, most of the excitement of this first half on defense and on the sidelines of the Los Angeles Raiders. Will Evans be the quarterback next time out for the LA offense?
That was Tom Walsh, the offensive coordinator there, talking to Jeff Hostetler again. I mean, this is ongoing. Jeff has not gotten over this yet.
Intended for Byers. Nolan Harrison, whose pressure led to a touchdown, was the man in on Marino.
Offside. 74 defense.
Harrison was offside.
Second down.
This is at least cooled off the Los Angeles Raiders. This thing on the sideline.
The penalty total for Los Angeles continues to enlarge. Now 40 yards on 5 calls. It seems more than that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But it always does when the Raiders play.
2 were declined. So it's 2nd and 5 for Marino. Closer to field goal range. 42 seconds to go in the half. Over the middle. Intercepted. Donald Frank on the tip. And he's brought down on the 32-yard line. And the defense of the Raiders has been outstanding in this first half. Donald Frank, the former Charger, with his first interception as a Raider.
Ball tipped. Intended for Williams. And Frank does an excellent job of hanging on to that football.
Boy, the Raiders needed that kind of defensive play. Miami moving into field goal range.
Yeah, anything. They need to get into the locker room, settle this thing between Art Shell and Jeff Hostetler, get on with their business in the second half. And Frank does a great job here. The old tip drill, just Get your hands on it and catch it.
Mike Williams overpowered with that bullet from Marino, and Vince Evans is the quarterback as the Raiders offense takes the field. This might be, let's just kneel down and get this thing over with. No, Evans comes out throwing. And Marco Coleman hits him, ruled an incomplete pass.
Well, Marco Coleman is eating Gerald Perry's lunch today.
Coleman, who is 6'3", and he's gained some weight. He's up to 267.
Well, this is the tight end. How in the world can the tight end be blocking on Marco Coleman? And I don't think Vince Evans was holding the ball there too long.
Raiders in this first half have a net 11 yards passing.
My goodness.
And yet lead 10-7. Draw to Williams. And Chris Singleton finishes what Marco Coleman started. He slowed him up, Coleman, and Singleton, number 55, makes the stop. Well, Don Shula has some things to work over at halftime as well. His offense has had to struggle to get 7. And Art Shell, I would guess there'll be a closed door, and they'll work out the problems at quarterback. Timeout called with 4 seconds remaining. It gives us a chance to tell you that it's a great Tuesday night on NBC. If you like to laugh, that's the place to be here in the Peacock. A special hour of wings this Tuesday, and an all-new Frasier, followed by an all-new Lara Kent. It all starts at 8, 7 Central, Tuesday night on NBC. '47-year-old Art Shell, and this could be one of the major tests of his tenure as the head man of the Raiders.
Dick, I agree with you totally.
You're talking about those who admire Hostetler's toughness and the fact that what they don't like today is what they do like about him, and that's why they acquired him.
But at the same time, emotion on the sideline of a football game has to be tolerated by all involved, because you can't have it on the field, walk to the sideline, and turn it off. It doesn't happen that way, and Art Shell knows that.
Like Evans is set up for the one-long. Now he's going to give to Williams on the last play of this first half, and Williams greeted by Michael Stewart, and that'll do it. The end of the half, the Raiders leading Miami 10-7. Jeff Hostetler, an academic as well as athletic all-star in his collegiate days. He'll have his brief arranged as he leaves the field, and Art Shell thinking about what's to be said from his behalf. Fighting Raiders lead 10-7. Get you caught up in all the rest of the action around the league. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York. Los Angeles Raiders using their defense with very little offense. 10-7 the score at the intermission, and the drama on the sidelines between head coach Shell and his quarterback situation most intriguing.
Yeah, and Dick, we got to go back just before all that happened on the sideline. The last play that Jeff Hostetler took part in, if you'll watch the wide receivers, there's 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and a running back, and as the play unfolds, you find an open receiver for Jeff Hostetler to throw the ball to. There is Harvey Williams comes out of the backfield late, but that's it. He gets hit by Brian Cox, and that's what really started all the argument on the sideline. There's nobody for Hostetler to throw to. He confronts Art Shell. This is the first time when he comes off the field, and Art told us yesterday, we want him to throw the ball away. Quit taking the hits.
And then Hostetler thought about it, and then he came back and started to argue and said something that Shell didn't like at all.
It definitely hit Art Shell's hot button. He turned directly to Vince Evans.
Really wounded quarterback there. Let's see what has happened during the intermission. Hannah Storm.
Well, I talked to Jeff Hostetler as he was coming out of the locker room, asked him if he was going to start the second half. He said, "You got me." Asked him if he worked anything out. He said they had not worked anything out. And when I asked him if he even spoke with Art Shell, he said no. Shell had no comment on who was going to start the second half, Dick.
All right, Hannah, we'll have to wait for that decision because the Dolphins get the ball first. trailing 10-7. Meanwhile, the Raider defense absolutely brilliant in stymieing Miami most of the half. The kickoff out of bounds, and with a new rule, that means that the Miami Dolphins will start way up on the 45-yard line. Let's take a look at the first half results. The Coors Light halftime statistics.
Nothing to really scream at or scream for here. The 3 turnovers by the Miami Dolphins have produced but 10 points for the Los Angeles Raiders. The Raiders have protected the ball but not protected their quarterback.
11 passing yards for Los Angeles. Well, Hostetler and Evans heating up.
I think Haas is your choice here. This is not the last game of the season. There's a lot of games left.
40-yard line to start. The kick out of bounds. And Bernie Parmalee gets the call, and good second effort. Drives out close to the 45-yard line. Nearly 5 on the carry. Derek Hoskins made the stop of Parmalee, who leads all rushers. Parmalee now with 60 yards in the game.
They've got to get him the ball more. Last week, 15 carries, 91 yards. That was his best rushing day. And he's well on his way to another best rushing day if they give him the ball enough.
Second and 5 for Marino. Parmalee again. And he's hit by Fredrickson and secured by Albert Lewis. Short of the first down. It'll be third down and a long 2.
Now, Dick, you wonder what all that happened on with all that happening on the Raiders sideline, what effect it will have on the Raider team. You can't have a situation like that and have it only affect one side of the football. And you've got the head coach arguing with the quarterback. Things are not right, no matter what the score is.
Yeah, I agree with you, except that if any team in the NFL can handle it, this is it.
You're right. You're right.
Third and 2.5 for Marino. Out of the gun, going with the wind, although it's a tricky one, blowing mostly from near side to far side. Oh, what a throw to Byers. Hit him on the run. Byers stays in bounds and finally loses his balance at the 29.
Dick, we saw this in the first half, and it worked for Miami again. It's linebacker coverage on Keith Byers. Here's Byers. Here's Beekert. It's like this. You also see Ingram with a little block out here. No call, but he gets a nice assist from Mark Ingram, number 82. He's right down in front of the cornerback's legs. Byers a big man when he catches that football. Breaks the tackle. 23-yard pickup.
First down inside the Raider 30-yard line. Parmalee appears to make real good decisions. And has speed and drive. Ball and Anderson make the tackle.
And every time you give credit to the running back, don't forget the guy in front of him, Keith Byers.
From Dayton, Ohio, where he was on 2-time state basketball champions. More than a number is 41, Keith Byers. And there's a lot on his mind today. Not only these Raiders, but his wife, Margaret, is overdue. And she's right there with her driving partner should something happen during the course of the game. Parmalee fighting for extra yardage, close to a first down at the 19. Margaret on the right. She's a gospel singer and brilliant talent, and that's her niece, who was there as the designated driver.
Yeah, Keith was at practice yesterday and had a beeper on, and I said, well, what happens if things start to happen on Sunday? And he said to his wife, Margaret, no game day babies. Shula doesn't like game day babies.
First down. It will be their second child. He says she knows the sex of the child, but he said, I didn't want to know. He's taken the Lamaze. He said, I didn't need any refresher courses, and he went through a little breathing force yesterday. He's ready. Just get the game over, Mama.
He also has that free football camp in Dayton with at least one famous participant. Dan Wilkinson, the first pick of the Bengals.
Big Daddy. Parmalee lost his balance, used his left hand to get himself about 2, maybe 3. Winston Moss makes the stop.
He you see a change in the emotion of the Raiders? You see kind of some wonderment on the sideline. Hostetler there in front of the fan, all by himself. Fred Bolitnikoff, the Hall of Famer, comes over to talk to him.
He's about as far away from control central as you can get. Dead end.
Probably good that he's far away from Art Shell.
Mark Higgs comes in. First time since he fumbled that led to a Raider touchdown. Gets the call. Breaks a couple tackles inside the 15, short of a first down. Scott Davis, number 70, into the game for the Raiders, made the stop.
Contact problems again, not contract, contact problems again for Bernie Parmalee.
He was undrafted, told us that he was already interviewing for a job selling insurance.
Yeah.
Well, boy, has he been good insurance now in his third year here in Miami, a backup for 2 years, special team star, and now they're leading rusher. 3rd and 4. That's that draw with the shotgun. And O.J. McDuffie, the carrier, to the 5. 1st and goal, Miami.
Interesting formation. They have McDuffie in the backfield as a running back with Byers. Byers again, lead block. Chips on Nolan Harrison. Boy, that's a strong run by O.J. McDuffie. Not a particularly big kid. Looked like a fullback on that one.
1st and goal from the 5 for the Dolphins. Threatening to take the lead on their first attempt of the second half. Higgs straightened after a 1-yard pickup. Good surge defensively by the men in the black jerseys, led by Rob Fredrickson. Here comes Parmalee.
Well, last time Parmalee had contact problems, Mark Higgs fumbled the ball.
Picked up by Anthony Smith, who went 25 yards for the Raiders touchdown. 10th play of the drive. 8 of the 9 have been on the ground. Byers moves out on a wing left. Boy, you could hear the smacking, and it is just a wall inside against the Raiders. Just difficult to penetrate for Miami. Ball and Davis that time shoulder to shoulder for the stop. No gain. 3rd and goal. What do you call here, Coach Trumpy?
I'd look for the tight end. I like Keith Jackson in these situations. Big body. He's like Charles Barkley underneath the bucket.
Jackson splitting away on the right side. He has the Miami touchdown. Almost intercepted. You were right. They went for Jackson, but Derek Hoskins got his hands on it for the Raiders. Greg Biekert on the coverage as well. So on comes Stoyanovich as Shula goes for the tying field goal.
Rare that you find a tight end at 250 pounds who can split out as a wide receiver. Hoskins plays the inside. Ball thrown low. Marino did not want any kind of an interception of the ball tipped.
Well, there wasn't much of a hole to throw that one in.
That's never discouraged Dan Marino.
That was a sliver. 21-yard attempt by Stoyanovich. He was 6 for 10 this year. And the game is anew at 10-all.
You know we've been together up and down the line.
It just keeps getting better time after time.
You're a part of me.
That's the heart of me.
Dr. Pepper, you're a part of me.
It's a reputation for dependability that grows with every year. It's a reputation for toughness, built one mountain at a time. And it's a reputation so new, yet so familiar. But best of all, it's Toyota, ranked the #1 truck line in customer satisfaction 4 years in a row.
Looks as if we have Raider detente. And Jeff Hostetler will return.
Shuttle diplomacy by Vince Evans between Art Shell and Jeff Hostetler, and things have been settled, at least for the moment.
The Raiders have not registered a first down since mid-first quarter. Those 6 knockdowns, part of Hostetler's problem, not finding an open receiver and waiting and waiting and waiting, hoping something would open. So tied at 10. Number 10, Stoyanovich, kicks it off for Miami. 8:15 left in the third. Alexander Wright at the 3. At the 40. Good return to the 45-yard line. Alexander Wright, 2-time NFL's fastest man, had the Jets going on that return. Timeout. Welcome back, and in that Raider huddle, wouldn't you like to hear there's going to be some pretty good humor right about now?
Yeah, I agree. Also, moments like this can bring a team together. There is no question about it. I mean, Hostetler's a popular guy, hangs around with the offensive lineman, lifts weights with them. They're on his side, but they know that Art Shell's the boss, and Haas was just sent to his room for about half a quarter.
Yep. First down from the Raider 45, tied at 10. They come out throwing. Good protection this time. Dumps it to Montgomery, and well read by J.B. Brown, who came up from the corner to stop him after a 3-yard gain. Tim Brown caught the only pass. And you remember we talked about that 4x100 relay and all the speed, that fearsome speed the Raiders bring in at wide receiver. Yet, as you had pointed out, Bob Trumpy, the only catch by one of the 4 was Brown, 9 yards. That was it for the first half.
Yeah, so Miami, with all their problems, done a great job of neutralizing that deep speed.
Hostetler. And he has Tim Brown for a long gainer inside the Miami 35. That's an 18-yard play.
And that was a nice throw by Hostetler. He had coverage underneath the receiver. He had coverage on top of the receiver. Just put enough air in the ball to drop it right into Tim Brown. And he's looking at Tim Brown all the way. And Stewart, the safety, is behind him. That's beautifully done by Haas.
7 minutes left in the third. Montgomery. Not much there. Good tackle by Chuck Klingbeil. Joe Green paid him a terrific compliment. He said he thinks he's the best run stopper in the league. Klingbeil, a free agent, played a couple years in the Canadian League. His only disappointment in this season, Klingbeil said, talked to his mom at home, hockey strike. Nothing to do up there in the UP with no hockey.
He was a hockey player in high school, wasn't he?
Second and long. Hostetler with a scramble, shirt-tailed again. That's twice today. Aubrey Beavers got him, and a flag down. Beavers, if that was behind the line of scrimmage, it was close, would be a sack, his third of the year. And that's a very familiar picture today.
See if we can pick up here. Watch Coleman, 90. Beavers at the top of the screen, gets by Tom Rathman.
10 yards.
And he grabs a hold of his shirt, but again, the corners flush the quarterback. There's Coleman and Hostetler. Man, we can't hold you out. Give us slow down, will you?
Beavers, the rookie from Oklahoma. Don't blame me.
Beavers beats Rathman on one side. Coleman beat Gerald Perry on the near side. They met at the quarterback.
They take the 10-yard penalty. 54 yards plus a couple decline. So a crowd of 75,000 at Joe Robbie. Hostetler. What a catch by Brown. And Tim Brown is out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
Oh, my goodness.
30-yard play, the longest of the day for the Raiders.
Watch 55 Singleton drop back. He's going to appear in the picture just again. He's not looking at the football. He's looking at the receiver. Brown sees it. What a catch by Tim Brown. That is an all-pro catch. AB by Brown in coverage. Linebackers in zone underneath.
This has been the best effort by the offense of the Raiders all day.
Look at this. Hands in the face, concentrates on the football, does not get tackled.
Harvey Williams makes a couple of Dolphins miss on the way to the 8-yard line. A gain of 4+. Brian Cox finally with a hit. Williams, who rushed for 18 yards his first carry and then only had 14 the next 6. So they stumbling first half for the Raiders.
Dick, that was a wonderful catch by Tim Brown. That was a my team needs a lift. I got to catch this ball, and he did.
Brown, the 87 Heisman winner at Notre Dame, in the slot now in motion. To Brown. Incomplete. Brown trying to stay in bounds, and Haas takes another solid hit. Chris Singleton in on top of the Raider quarterback.
And Dick, again, he runs right over Tom Rathman. Now, Rathman, watch what happens here when the collision takes place. Rathman, known as an excellent pass blocker, watch this. Boom. Just folds him right back into the feet of Jeff Hostetler, and Haas on his back again.
Boy, his joints must be rubberized the way they bend him and hit him, and he gets up for more.
Well, the Raiders flew in on a 747. Lots of room for Hostetler to lie down on the way home.
Timeout, Los Angeles. Now from good old Texas State, you'll see that later tonight. But Joe Robbie sold out. 3rd down 6. The Raiders another 3rd down chance. Have not been very successful. They are this time. Touchdown to Brown, who makes another outstanding catch.
And that was a Tim Brown drive.
That was a Honolulu drive for Tim Brown. Pro Bowl stuff.
As J.B. Brown in coverage, the release outside the defensive back, very unusual, and the athletic skills and the strength of Tim Brown. Well, Denver tried to get him away from the Raiders. Hostetler called Al Davis and said, you got to keep him. There's further evidence of why.
16-10. Try for point by Jaeger. They get the 1, and it's 17-10. Jeff Hostetler, his reaction as Brown pulls in that touchdown. Boy, the peaks and valleys emotionally today. Jeff Hostetler using over that drive that found the inspiration coming from that man, Tim Brown. 57 of the yards, 60 yards accounted on Brown catches. 17-10 Raiders. Down it comes to O.J. McDuffie. And James Trapp throws McDuffie down at the 24-yard line.
Again, back to the big catch that happened the last time the Raiders had the ball. This is Tim Brown. Now watch what happens to the guy in the red. This is the middle linebacker. He has coverage underneath. Hostetler puts just enough air underneath the ball that it goes over the outstretched arms of the linebacker. Brown makes the catch, breaks the tackle, ends up being a 30-yard reception, one of his 3 in that drive, and a big inspiration to his teammates.
Now it's Marino at his 24-yard line. Batted in the air, and it goes right to the tight Harrison, and then he can't hang on. Or are they going to rule he had the ball before going down? Well, flag down back at Marino's throwing point, and this may be a Dolphin penalty.
Holding, number 78, offense. 10 yards, first down.
This last 2 weeks have not been an offensive highlight film for the Miami Dolphins. They've invested a lot in this offense, surrounded Dan Marino with an awful lot of people. Byers, Jackson.
Richmond Webb, who gave up the sack and the fumble when Harrison beat him and knocked it free from the ball carrier, Mark Higgs. Almost intercepted by Greg Beekert. It was right there for him. Intended for Parmalee in the middle screen.
This, I would believe, is the tough play for Dan Marino to make. With that bad ankle, he's got a sell pass again. Nolan Harrison, 74, right in his face. And Beekert, shocked that the ball is right there in his arms, goes incomplete. Dolphins very lucky.
Second down and 20. For those who had some doubts about the Raiders' talent, that front four is really maturing. The couple of changes that they've made, inserting Jerry Ball. Whoa, what a puck on. And then the fumble, and recovered by Miami as Marino is jolted. Chris Gray recovers the fumble. Nolan Harrison again. Between Ball and Harrison, they have been camped with Marino all day.
You always try to get pressure up the middle. There's no question about that. Man, that's Nolan Harrison right in Dan Marino's face. And I don't care how great a quarterback you are, if you don't have time to throw it, okay, he's drawing it back. Well, that's total collapse of a pocket, and this is an offensive line that historically has protected Dan Marino like diamonds.
Well, Chris Gray is making his first NFL start. We don't want to put all the blame on the second-year man from Auburn, but his hands have been full with Jerry Ball. Buying some space and time on the rollout and completing to Mike Williams, his third catch today. Albert Lewis made the stop far short of a first down, but picking up some real estate out to the 24-yard line, and that's where this series began.
They got to roll out to get away from that middle pressure to give Marino some time.
17-10 Los Angeles late in the third quarter, and Tim Brown, there's young Chris Gray, Arnold to punt. Ever dangerous Brown. It's a very short kick. Takes a Miami bounce and out of bounds at the 36-yard line. 41-yard punt. Timeout. Dan Marino searching for help. The offense stymied by Buffalo in a 21-11 loss last week. And not much working today either. 17-10 as Hostetler, that drive of the second half, much more powerful than all of the first half of production. Through the hands of Brown this time. A rare miss for him. Troy Vincent, the nearest Dolphin. You know, we talked about Raiders having Miami's number. 16 wins, only 5 losses and a tie. Raiders over Don Shula's Dolphins, and more importantly, the Raiders have a winning record here, 7-5-1.
When I talked to Don Shula, I didn't bring that up. Did you?
No. Well, I kind of mumbled as I left the room. Meanwhile, Buffalo is losing to Indianapolis. As Harvey Williams, a huge hole, and he's across the 50-yard line. Troy Vincent finally rides him down. Gene Atkins got a piece of him, but it's 15 yards.
Well, Dick, Raiders now have control of this football game. The passing on the last drive loosened up the defense of the Miami Dolphins, a little more man-to-man, and now they can go back to the run. Excellent job by Wisniewski, 76 on 51 Cox. Harvey Williams, 8-9 yards down the field before he was hit. Before he went down.
Williams again in the backfield. Corralled and just does get back to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Klingbeil made the tackle. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right. right, Dick, you mentioned what's happening in Buffalo. Take a look at Don Majkowski on for injured Jim Harbaugh. 19 yards to Floyd Turner, his second TD catch of the game. The worst passing team in the league has its third touchdown of the day by air. The Colts lead at 27-10 in Buffalo. Dick?
Oh, my. 17-point lead for the Colts. So Miami fans will cheer that score when it's announced. 2nd and 10 for Hostetler. Top to Brown. Another perfect combination, incomplete. Couldn't hold as he hit the ground. But what a beautiful rainbow throw by Hostetler right in the basket, and Troy Vincent's defense denied.
Man-to-man coverage, the initial chuck. Now Vincent has the speed to stay with Tim Brown. Vincent still coming back from the knee injury.
Should have been a flag.
There was contact.
Before the ball arrived, he grabbed his arm.
There was contact. Watch the. But I mean, in full motion, that's hard to determine.
3rd and 10. Hostetler spends his second timeout of this second half. So he'll go over and talk things over. Very politely, I'm sure.
Well, the real talkative guy here will be Fred Volitnikov. Yes, Archel keeping his distance. I might make mention of this. If the Raiders win this game, this is a little blip. The Raiders lose this game, this is a major problem for the Los Angeles Raiders. So winning solves a lot of things this week.
Winning means you're 3-3 after a very dismal start. Losing means you're 2-4, and even though there's a favorable schedule ahead, might be difficult to think playoffs.
Good point.
Tomorrow night, Fresh Prince gets a visit from a great athlete, the legendary Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It's a special Fresh Prince of Bel-Air tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central here on NBC. 17-10. The Raiders have the lead, and a 3rd and 10 at the Miami 49. Bernie Kosar now in that aqua and orange of the Miami Dolphins has yet to throw a pass as a Dolphin. Hostetler's last 6 throws have been to Brown, so look for Brown. Hostetler, how's he get out of there? Now looking for first down yardage. He dives to the 40. That won't be enough. He got across the 40. It's going to be, it would appear from here, about a ball short of a first down, but they're going to measure.
And Dick, the official sideline marker is on the far side. This is the unofficial side. Very difficult to tell. There's the official sideline, but again, Jeff Hostetler showing his guts, little sense, an awful lot of nerve. Stewart, 35, coming, stretches the ball out. The same rules at the goal line do not apply at the first down marker. So we'll see whether or not he gets the first.
A little more than a ball's length. 4th down. But there again, Hostetler, the very thing that you might be criticizing him for, or saying don't hold it so long. A lot of less experienced, less tough quarterbacks would have forced something. Instead, he waits and waits, scampers out of there, and gets you good yardage, almost a first down.
Yeah, most quarterbacks think of their own self-preservation first. Hostetler, one of the few who does not.
Although that wasn't a tough hit, he did have contact on the dive. 9th time today that he's been under that kind of pressure as Gossett comes in on 4th. Interesting here with the new rules on the field goal. They won't try the extremely long field goal. Is the fake? Ooh, almost offside. That was Brian Cox as Gossett lines it just into the end zone, looking for the 2-yard line, and was about 2 yards deep into the end zone. 40 yards, 20 net. Miami takes over on the 20. 17-10 as Marino, hoping he can generate some offense. Has been very little for Miami today. Behind the stats we go. The The Miami Dolphins, who are always very positive in average yards per game, 327 and 91, up to 343, 93, 363, and this year 403-yard average. But today they have only 208 yards, and we're in the final minute of the third quarter. Using the shotgun on first down. And is it intercepted? Hoskins diving. You say no, he trapped it.
But Hoskins was right there in front of Jackson. Again, we saw this last week. Danny locking in on the receiver. You see Hoskins 20 coming right at it.
Oh, that was close. Yeah. And who was in Marino's face again? Jerry Ball. He's going to know what kind of shave lotion Ball wears. He said if I were only 6'5", I'd be a multi-millionaire. They'd be playing me outside, and I'd be rushing those passes. And Richmond Webb this time pulls off the line. Scott Davis, the man he's trying to block.
I do notice that Chester McLaughlin.
Prior to the snap, number 78 offense. 5 yards, second down.
That's on Richmond Webb. Chester McLaughlin not in there. I mean, they use a combination of defensive people up front, but there's McLaughlin on the sideline without his shoulder pads.
They were wrapping his high chest. Trying to get a report. Might have been his upper arm. Marino in the hole, 2nd and 15 at his own 15. A draw. Patiently waited, but got only 3, and a tough tackle from the rookie Rob Fredrickson. Hannah?
Dick, the wind is picked up here. It's blowing from Dan Marino's left to his right, from the Dolphins sideline to the Raiders sideline. In fact, that last pass that he threw that almost got picked off was directly into the wind, Dick.
All right, thank you, Hannah. Tricky stuff in these open stadiums. You can't always tell by the flag direction. Often it's exactly the opposite.
And for the second straight week, the Miami Dolphins face considerable win. Last week in Buffalo, really presented problems. Now here in their home stadium.
3rd down, 11. It's an injured shoulder. Chester McLaughlin probably will not return. 3rd and 13. Incomplete. And again, that pass into the wind, sailing away from O.J. McDuffie. Nolan Harrison applying the pressure and moves here.
This is amazing. It hasn't happened often in Dan Marino's career at Joe Robbie Stadium. He looked labored when we saw him at practice on Saturday, Dick. Like he'd suffered all week with the performance of the offense last week in Buffalo. Just not working the last 2 weeks. It may or may not be the way.
Jim Arnold. Another wobbler. Brown on the short kick at the 45. And Greg Beatty gets a fumble the ball. Miami. Stripped by Greg Beatty. I think Brown is arguing that he was down, and Bernie Parmalee recovers. Right in front of Art Shell, who is pleading the case as well that Brown's knee was down.
I've not seen an indication yet, have you?
Last play of the third quarter. Bob McElwee wants to gather him around and make sure of this one. We'll take a look at it.
Beatty makes the first contact.
Well, hard to tell from there.
Can't tell from that angle.
Sure looked as if he would be tough for him not to be down for the ball to pop out.
This is a key call here. This either puts Miami back in the game. Let's see what we can see here.
Fumble! Touchdown!
Yeah, it doesn't look like a fumble on the replay, does it? Looked like he went down and it was the ground that jarred it free. And Parmalee recovers. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. It's 17-10 Raiders going to the fourth.
Presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Art Shell watching what could be a very critical call. It's ruled a fumble. And Miami takes over on the 43-yard line. Tim Brown felt he had control when he hit the ground. 17-10. The Raiders lead. Opening play fourth quarter, and Parmalee running up the back of his blockers and into the Raider mitts, and Jerry Ball, 93. What a game he's had, this 8-year veteran from SMU.
Great hand strength. Told Archell when he first showed up, he said, look, I'm not going to shrink.
You want me to lose a lot of weight?
I'm not going to shrink. And Archell, it's probably the nicest thing anybody said to Jerry Ball. Hey, you're talking to a big man. I understand.
Yeah, they listed Shell at less than 300. He played about 340. Marino guns and hits his tight end Jackson shy of the first down at the 35. Hoskins and Moss collaborate on the stop.
Dick, Raiders have done a great job of taking away the outside receivers of the Miami Dolphins. Ingram and Fryer have had little or no action today. It's basically come from Byers, Jackson on the inside.
Close enough for a measurement. You see Marino by game last week against Buffalo, under 500, 212 yards, 1 touchdown. Today, under 500. He's hitting 47%. Those for a man that has a career percentage up around 60%.
And the thing is that football teams are great copycats, and if they see coaches see one team put pressure up the middle in a certain way, it usually shows up the next week if it has some positive effect. And the Raiders have obviously used great effort, but also some schemes to crush the pocket back at Dan Marino.
3rd down inches. Battling and has the first down. Boy, you could hear the contact.
Another big hit by Keith Byers on the lead block. He got Fredrickson 53 out of the hole.
Yeah, the value of Byers, and all fans, we're all guilty of not seeing the cause for good things. And Byers, the block, is important as what Parmalee does.
This took Fredrickson right out of there. What did Steve Smith, former Raider, tell us? Is blocking takes courage. Low man wins.
Low man. First down for Marino at the 32, trailing by 7. Better protection this time. He throws incomplete and intercepted by Albert Lewis. No, he trapped it, dropped it, and it bounced right back up to him. And Albert Lewis, the crafty veteran on that corner. Ingram looked to be open, and Marino saw it that way, but watch Lewis.
Albert Lewis always been able to cover ground. If that pass is thrown high again to Ingram, he's got a better chance to catch it. Again, I think the wind is having, for the second week in a row, a real effect on Dan Marino. He normally throws the ball very well.
Albert Lewis, the former Kansas City Chief. And one of the reasons he has only 38 career interceptions is the fact they don't throw at him. He's always been so good, you stayed away from his side. Marino underneath the Byers, and he has a first down inside the 20. Tackled by Mike Jones. 14 for Byers. Don't get too excited, Margaret.
From out of the backfield, again, linebacker coverage. This time the pattern is inside for Keith Byers. No one there close, although Land does eventually make the tackle. Quiet, please. Please, Margaret. Please.
Maybe she's listening. She said, I better be careful.
She's not going to stand up and cheer. I know that.
Any day for Margaret. Byers has had a catch in every quarter of the game. Byers, he's open. Touchdown! Oh, my! Beautiful than when they're about to deliver. Keith Byers has to make Mama Margaret happy. And about 75,000 others here at Joe Robbie. Now the try for point by Stojanovic to tie it. 17 all. The controversial fumble call, and the Dolphins take advantage. Dolphins take advantage of an apparent break on the fumble call, and they go 43 yards in 6 plays. Marino, a fingertip toss to Keith Byers for the touchdown, 18 yards. Tied at 17, 12:21 to go.
That's kind of the reward he gets for all that good lead blocking, you know. We'll throw you the ball.
Who's wearing the pager today? The pager that Keith had at practice in case there was
he's got a trainer on the sideline, but I have a feeling if it goes off now, Margaret is on her own with Renee.
Now it's the Raiders' turn as Stojanovic kicks. Alexander Wright at the 5. 15. Parmalee was there, as well as the rookie Brant Boyer.
What a day this kid has had. But let's go back to the touchdown. Byers, Fredrickson. We have seen all day long linebacker coverage on Keith Byers. I think Fredrickson is expecting the flat. This is 1st and 10. Byers looks back. Fredrickson bites. Byers turns up, and then a beautiful throw. Those big mitts that Byers has, just big enough.
Not bad coverage by the rookie.
No, not bad at all. But Miami's been exploiting this all day long. Linebacker on running back. It accounts for 6.
This is the worst starting position for the Raiders today at their own 15. They give to Ty Montgomery. He moves the pile across the 20. Harvey Williams limped off, and he was in for Rocket Ismail, who has not returned since he took that hit from Parmalee on a kick return in the first half.
They're running thin at running backs. You need Harvey out there with a little ouchie.
Montgomery now 15 yards rushing.
Head coaches call those ouchie. What do you mean somebody kicked you? Get out there. Just an ouchie.
2nd and 4. Montgomery again. Only a yard this time. Chris Singleton playing a big game for the Dolphins at linebacker. The former New England Patriot said he wants to own his own car wash. That was interesting. He looked at us and he said, what I really want to do someday is own my own car wash and auto detailing. He said, I'll spend a whole afternoon just washing and polishing my car.
Yeah.
His twin brother rooting for him out in Tucson, Arizona, where he's an assistant coach at University of Arizona. Twin Kevin had leukemia and bone marrow gift from Chris, number 55, to give him life. 3rd down. Haas scrambles, 1st down, and down he goes at the 28-yard line. Frankie Smith there to make sure.
Tom Olivadotti, the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, told me yesterday, he said, you know, Hostetler is most dangerous when he shakes out of that pocket because he doesn't look downfield to throw. He looks downfield to run. There was another instance.
Harvey Williams returns. Klingbeil went out. He's playing with a knee injury, a knee brace today. There's Chuck. 10 seconds, and Hostetler barely beats the clock with that call, and Williams hit at the 30. Jeff Cross knifing in from defensive end with Aubrey Beavers, the linebacker, on the tackle. Beautiful day, and this is a magnificent new stadium. Joe Robbie, 75,000 a sellout to see the Raiders and Dolphins, 2 long-standing foes of the AFC. Don Shula matched against Art Shell. Hostetler and Marino played on the same high school all-star team in Pennsylvania. 17-17. Hostetler on the scramble. Down at the 34-yard line, and boy, he was holding that ball out where Craig VC, number 94, almost able to bat it away.
But he doesn't care about the normal rules you apply to a quarterback. I mean, when he starts across the line of scrimmage, Hostetler is going to be a running back, going to put his head first. He's going to do anything he possibly can.
Cincinnati pulling up on Pittsburgh, and only a minute left at Buffalo, where the Colts lead by 10.
Again, now we're keeping track. That's the 11th hit that Hostetler has had today.
3rd and 4. For Brown, Troy Vincent. Another big play for Vincent. He's been a star in that secondary for Miami today.
As a matter of fact, when Troy Vincent got hurt last year, Shula said it was the biggest injury they had on their team. Right hand knocks the ball away. Not only what Vincent brings to the team on the field, but off the field. Quality kid. Great leader. We're certainly glad to have him back. This is the second week in a row now that he started a little solidarity in that defensive backfield.
The injured player apparently is 71 Gerald Perry, the left tackle. We'll check on his condition when we come back. Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium. 17 all, and Gossett forced to punt. O.J. McDuffie back toward the sidelines. Wynn really taking that one out the field of play, and it'll be marked out near the 30-yard line, and just at the 30 indeed, as Dan Marino and the offense will come on for the Finns. A flag is down at midfield. 37-yard punt if. Of the officiating that's changed that I really applaud. They get together and make sure.
Offsetting personal fouls. 53 of the kicking team. 55 of the kicking team. 53 of the receiving team. Penalties offset. First down.
I think it was 56. Andre Bruce and Aubrey Beavers tonight. NBC, it's a double movie for you. Double feature. First up, Jim Belushi stars. Network television premiere of Curly Sue, and then another comedy, and the only place you're going to find football on television tonight, the network premiere of the gridiron comedy Necessary Roughness. All tonight, starts at 7, 6 Central here on NBC. First down, Marino to throw. Boy, you could see the wind really take that ball.
Man,
that was a slider to Mark Ingram.
Well, they started the game. There's Tim Brown getting cramps massaged out of his calves on the sideline. They certainly need him, but the wind is just. In the first quarter, they went back to the very short stuff, and it worked. Now, at the top of the goalpost, the crossbar, the uprights there, it's very deceiving. That's above the stadium. But down on the field, you can see the paper blowing, and it's gusting, and there's no way to know exactly which way it's blowing.
Bob, that crowd reaction in the background was to that Buffalo score. The Colts on their way to victory at Buffalo. Parmalee grabbed by 3 Raiders after a pickup of a couple. Andre Bruce was there first. Oh, there it is, up on the board, 27-17, as Kelly gets the 2-yard touchdown pass to Thomas late in the fourth quarter. That would, with a Miami win, would give the Dolphins then sole possession of first place in the AFC East. They're 4-2, tied with Buffalo coming in.
But it's certainly crowded in the AFC East.
Using the shotgun again, Marino.
Where's Byers? Where's Byers?
See him? 3rd and 8. Scoreboard was wrong. And again, the passes toward the sidelines. The wind has so much effect. Mike Williams was the target. You can see him just diving like a sidearm sinker.
I think Dan's very mad at himself, but there's not much you can do about the conditions unless you throw underneath and come up with some shorter stuff. But on a 3rd and 10, you don't have a 3rd and 8. You don't have much choice. You got to at least try to get the first down.
Tim Brown in to return. Beautiful kick. Brown at the 20. Down at the 26. 48-yard punt, 6 on the return, timeout. Midpoint of the fourth quarter, Raiders and Miami at 17. Tied at 17, midpoint of the fourth quarter. Ty Montgomery, one of the runners. Harvey Williams has been more successful today. And here is the story of the '94 season rushing for the Raiders, up and down. 86 against New England, and today their best of the season, 106 yards. And based on the shell and Raider philosophy, that should be good enough to win. Hostetler goes long, and he has Jet open and can't hold on. Incomplete. James Jet wide open, and Hostetler can't believe it.
That catch has got to be made. Troy Vincent has certainly been busy today. He's the man who's supposed to be covering James Jett. Oh, he had it.
He had the catch, and actually that could have been ruled a fumble.
Absolutely. That looked very close. Come on.
Could have been worse, though, Haas.
Watch that second foot. Catch made 1, 2.
Oh, yeah, that's a fumble. So
it evens out.
Yeah, it does. Except the head coaches. Lots of time, and finally had to throw it away in front of Tim Brown as he was hit again.
Yeah, and Harvey Williams was open out here in the flat, but that's now the 12th hit that Jeff Hostetler has taken today. Mr. Ice Bag.
Human ice bag, yep. Jeff Cross up high, and down low is Klingbeil.
There haven't been many hits that are just brushes, you know. They have been solid hits on Haas.
They might invoke the 10 knockdown rule in Miami in the state of Florida.
So do the judges on the card.
3rd and 10. Another good defensive play by J.B. Brown this time to deny a good throw. James Jett was the receiver. So 2 catches by Jett that were almost, and the Raiders go 3 and out. That was a tough chance.
But Hostetler had 2 in the hands of the same receiver, and that receiver could not hang on. James Jett.
So 6 straight incompletes for the Haas, and in comes Gossett to punt for the 8th time today. Again, spinning toward the far sidelines. McDuffie at the 28. Not a block there. Gets to the 32. A 46-yard punt. 3 on the return. Time running out. 4th quarter. Tied at 17. Welcome back. Dick Enberg, Bob Trumpy, Hannah Storm at Joe Robbie Stadium. Jeff Hostetler thinking about what almost was James Jett, who led the league last year. 23.4 a catch. Was open deep, but couldn't hang on. Miami starts at the 31. Big hole. Parmalee to the 45. Eddie Anderson with a tackle, and Bernie Parmalee 13 more. He had 91 yards last week at Buffalo. He's got 96 today.
Chester McLaughlin out of that defensive front. They went right at his spot. And McLaughlin, a big, strong guy. They got Scott Davis playing inside, and there is a big drop off there. Miami's going to exploit that.
6.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Just weaving his way for 5 to midfield. Jerry Ball makes the stop. Parmalee over the century mark for the first time in his brief NFL career.
Again, we've talked about Keith Byers, and this is going to be run right outside Scott Davis, number 70. Good lead block again on Winston Moss by Keith Byers. Nice pickup, Bernie Parmalee.
Ball State Cardinals of the Mid-American Conference. Oh, the pitch back. Marino looking for Fryer. Incomplete.
He just stood there.
Albert Lewis knocked it away.
Irving Fryer just stood there. He runs the pattern and stopped. If he comes back for the football, Dick, it's a completion. It's absolutely amazing. Irving Fryer is a veteran receiver, but watch as this unfolds. You're going to see the dive in here and then the pitch back, but here's the receiver and he just stops, and he doesn't come back for the football. This is an easy completion if Irving comes back at all. He just stands there. Gives the defender time to get up to the ball and knock it away.
3rd and 5. McDuffie in motion.
Whoa.
Almost intercepted by Lionel Washington.
Woo.
That could have been a score. Washington with a touchdown on an interception against San Diego earlier this year.
That was intended for O.J. McDuffie. I don't understand this. Ingram goes inside. McDuffie's coming outside. Whoop. Look at there. Whoa, man.
So 3 and out for Miami after the first down by Parmalee. And Marino 4 straight incompletes. And Haas on the other end is 6 in a row. Arnold hits a dying spiral. Brown lets it go in the end zone. 50 yards, net 30. On come the Raiders, tied at 17 with 5:26 left. A reminder, next Sunday we invite you to join us for our continuing NFL coverage. NFL Live at 12:30. Host Greg Gumbel. Our team of Super Bowl champion coaches Ditka and Gibbs and co-host Ahmad Rashad will keep you updated on all the breaking NFL news. Reeves and Marcus Allen will be the featured interviews. And there are the games. Pittsburgh, the Giants, Seattle, Kansas City early. Denver, San Diego, our big late game. Bumps him out after a 4-yard gain. Chester McLaughlin, he's got his shoulder bandaged and his ankle iced.
That ankle is from that surgery he had with the pin in it. Took the pin out and really slowed down his progress this summer, but came in with a sore shoulder. Played well along with Jerry Ball, but of the two, Ball had the bigger impact today.
2nd and 6 for Hostetler. Rathman. Oh, is he hit by Michael Stewart. The safety playing right up on the line of scrimmage. What a hit.
Kind of odd. 2nd down and considerable yardage, and you give it to the fullback. Normally this is a tailback-oriented offense. That was a fine hit by Michael Stewart. Of course, he'll hit anybody. He's not particular.
Rathman out. 3rd wide receiver Hobbs in. 3rd down 5. To Brown when they need the money. He takes him to the bank. 7 yards and a 1st down. Tim Brown, J.B. Brown, not related, makes the tackle.
Brown runs the delay outside. Watch it. Goes inside, comes back outside. Brown can't quite stay with him. Just enough for the 1st down. Taking no chances with the wind altering the path of the football. Good choice.
He has the only offensive touchdown today for the Raiders. The other came on Anthony Smith's 25-yard fumble return. And Harvey Williams runs right into a Miami tackler. Chris Singleton. Craig Vesey there as well.
It looks like Tim Brown again on the bench suffering from leg cramps. Certainly a guy that they want and need. There he comes in. He's running rather gingerly there. You can get dehydrated down in this heat and humidity, and then once those cramps start, very hard to stop them before the game is over.
It's a shocking statistic, but of all the men who have played quarterback in the 4th quarter in the league this year, 40 of them, Hostetler is 40th. This has been his worst dismal quarter. Will that change here? Brown open again. 1st down. He gets down at the 46-yard line. 14 more for the Raiders.
He's in the slot, and when Tim Brown is in the slot, that's the tough work, guys. You got to come across the middle. Nice move again, Troy Vincent, but it looks like legs cramping up again. Couldn't really continue to run. Hostetler hit again. Webster
the
below.
linebacker. Ticking down, 2.5 minutes left. Tied at 17. Field goal would be big now. Hostetler uses his last timeout. That's all 3 have been spent by the Raiders. So we'll take a break with 2:24 remaining at Joe Robbie. 17 all. Hall of Famer Art Shell barking into that telephonic device. This is a most important 2.5 minutes for the Los Angeles Raiders. They're going to leave Miami well back into the hunt for the Super Bowl. Shell calling this the best team that Al Davis has ever given him, or they'll leave 3-3. In the 4th quarter this year, Marino ranked 4th in terms of production, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and Hostetler 40 out of 40. Hard to believe.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing, because Hostetler, one of those gritty guys that you would consider to have a great quarter in the 4th quarter.
1st and 10. From his 46, the give to Harvey Williams. Good yardage down to the 47 of Miami. A pickup of 7. Aubrey Beavers made the stop.
Good blocking out in front of Harvey Williams. Glover, the tight end. Wisniewski, 76 on the pull. Rathman, nice block on Chris Singleton. Nice pickup, Harvey Williams.
And that is the 2-minute timeout. During the timeout, Dan Turk, the snapper on field goals, and field goal kicker Jeff Jager go out to check the wind. And what hash mark? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, you want the left or right hash mark for the right hook on the ball I kick.
He went on 2nd and 2. Williams almost stripped of the ball, but he picks up the first down at the 43. Will Miami use their timeouts? Cox and Beavers make the stop. Oh, other part of our opening. Another disappointing game for him so far. Williams cut down. A gain of maybe a yard or 2. Troy Vincent. Oh, he's going to. If they gave stickers on your helmet for your effort the way you're doing colleges, he'd have Dolphins all over that white thing. Be 42 yards. Hostetler batted away. Craig Vesey. Or was it Larry Webster? Webster got his mitts on it. Webster playing in there because of Klingbeil's knee injury.
79 is the man who gets his hand up. He's playing on the left guard. Wisniewski. It's a good push, then does get his hand up. Yes, looked like it was intended for Harvey Williams out here in the flat.
Stops the clock. 48 seconds left.
This is the down.
3rd and 9. Brian Cox with a sack. DC with an assist. Risk the chance of hitting the punter and giving the Raiders the ball. I wouldn't think so. Cox was in there closest, and it's a great kick by Gossett. He angles it with the, well, not as good as I thought, 10-yard line. Raiders can't stop the clock, so all Marino has to do is kneel down, and we go to overtime. If that's the call by Shula. It isn't. And Parmalee gets only a yard gain into the arms of Greg Biekert. The fans booing, but that's when you're on your own 10-yard line and you only have seconds left, you want to gamble and force a mistake. Meanwhile, Rathman and Williams and company are going to be punching into overtime. That's the last play of regulation. We'll stay here for the coin toss, and then they'll have that 3-minute break. So the first overtime contest for these two teams this year. Regulation over at 17. So much in reviewing this game. The Raider defense more than the equal of the Miami offense. Frustrated Marino all day, but Miami able to find enough and got a controversial call on a Tim Brown punt return fumble to start in the Raider side of the field and score the tying touchdown. The controversy between Art Shell and the starting quarterback Hostetler. Hostetler's struggles to find open receivers. The drop by James Jett that could have decided it.
Please call it while it's in the air. Tails, he says.
Tails it is.
It is a head. They want the ball. What goal would you like to defend?
That's it. The Raiders seeing that coin toss with their hearts. And Miami gets it first. Now when we return, Jeff Hostetler will watch his team kick it off and hope that he'll get a chance to win it in OT. Tom Rathman hope they get a chance, but it's the Dolphins who will receive the kickoff as we open overtime. And a storm.
Well, the wind may not have been a factor for the Dolphins in the coin toss because actually the wind is not blowing from end to end in the stadium. It's coming across this way in the top of the stadium, and on the field it's coming down this way toward the Raiders sideline where I'm standing, Dick.
All right, Hannah. But the advantage for the Dolphins is that with the new rules kicking off from the 30, you're just going to figure to get so much better field position.
Yeah, you're right. It does change the overtime period dramatically.
And the wind knocks the ball off the tee. Raiders more successful through the years in overtime. How that relates to this season is minimal, but Miami with the ball in the home field. Good kick. Jaeger sends it high to the 5. And McDuffie runs into his own blocker and down at the 23-yard line. 48. In fact, he lost a couple. Greg Biekert.
These two young linebackers, Biekert and Fredrickson, have both played beautifully. Not just today, but in the early stage of the season. Here's Biekert, fills from the inside out to stop this run. Watch Fredrickson take on Keith Byers. Stands him up. It's Biekert. And he's only 235 pounds. But he plays a big middle linebacker.
Yeah, another overtime game with Arizona and the Redskins. Huh? How did he get that ball through there to Mark Ingram? First down at the 35-yard line. Definitive. You got to go with it. Pitch back to Parley. Out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
Good down block by Keith Jackson. Sims pulls 69 again. Keith Byers, he runs through the tackle of Hoskins. What a game this kid has had. Not only carrying the ball, he also knocks Rocket out of the game with a hit. He recovers a fumble. Parmalee has been everything for the Dolphins today.
Parmalee with a brilliant game. Terry Kirby had a 100-yard game earlier. First time in a long time for Miami to have two rushers that have gone over. Parmalee protecting the ball to the 34-yard line. That covers 13 years since the last time.
I see they're at the 35. They need at least, they got to get to the 20. That's 37 yards in this unstable wind here at Joe Robbie
Wait a minute, you said Jaeger had to get the 25, 42. Has he got a better?
Yeah, I think
more wind going the other way.
I think that end, it favors you. This end, you're going to be more against it. Even though, as Hannah said, it's coming across.
131 yards for Parmalee. 2nd and 6. Ripping through the Raiders. First down.
Dick, part of this has to be Chester McLaughlin is out of that defensive front for the Raiders. Runs away from ball inside Nolan Harrison. But excellent job of blocking by the Miami Dolphin offensive line.
Jeff Dellenbach on Biekert with a beautiful hit.
They had him to their knees. I think the Raiders wearing out the heat and humidity.
Parmalee, 4 carries, 36 yards. He's taking care of all the yardage on this drive other than the one pass of 15 to Ingram. Parmalee again. Stop, start, and go.
this kid, really? Man, you don't go from being a special teams player last year and then basically out of the picture at the beginning of the season until Terry Kirby gets hurt and emerged as a running back like this. That's pretty.
That's quite an insurance policy.
Oh, that is pretty.
First down, just inside the Raiders 17.
Now, what's point-blank range in Don Shula's mind for Pete Stoyanovich? He's a big factor not being in there. McLaughlin.
Parmalee's out, and Mark Higgs comes in. But the give is to Byers, and he takes a wallop from Derek Hoskins and Winston Moss. A gain of a yard. In Shula's mind, there has to be, do I go for it now and try to get the field goal and not risk a fumble? Risk a turnover here. Parmalee exhausted. What a game. A career game indeed for Bernie Parmalee.
I'm not sure if I'm Miami if I wouldn't take a timeout here just to get Parmalee rested back into the lineup. Higgs still in there. Maybe they've decided this is far enough. Stoyanovich, which hash mark do you want it on?
Byers again. A couple yards in the middle of the field. Third down. He might go on third. That, in case of a mistake, it gives you a chance to take a second shot at a field goal. Shula looks at his kicker and his assistant coaches.
Yeah. Did you see Marino just motioning? You want it between the hash marks to Stoyanovich? I think this is far enough.
Well, he's going to go for third down and
Marino.
Second and 9. Excuse me.
He was motioning to Shula. You want to kick it on this down or the next down?
Yeah, now they're going to call the time. They're going to be sure. In overtime, 9:50 remains. The Raiders have had no chance. Miami's got a great chance to win. How frustrating must it be? You relinquish the lead. You go into overtime. A long struggle. So much on the line. So much has happened today. And maybe you don't even get a chance to play in overtime on offense.
And Dick, I think your point about where they kick the ball off now, you get such good field position, you really don't have to establish field position in the overtime period.
Although here they started from their 22, Miami, they had to go a good distance. 63 yards they traveled to come to 2nd and 9 inside the 15. Puts it right where they want it on the left hash mark. That obviously why call time. Where does Stoyanovich want? Here he comes. He's been tough in the clutch. Line of scrimmage the 12. It'll be about a 29-yard field goal to win it.
Is Andrew Glover in there for the Raiders? Last week, a penalty against Andrew Glover against the New England Patriots kind of changed that game. Yeah, he's in there.
And the Raiders will use the timeout. It'll be teed up just inside the 20. So 29-yard attempt for Stoyanovich. Tapioca normally for these kickers, but with the pressure and the wind.
Sure. But you've got Jim Arnold as the holder.
The one thing I'm sure Shula's told Arnold is that if there's any problem with the snap or any difficulty, just swallow it, kneel on it, and we still got another chance on 4th down. Remember, this is the 3rd down play.
The snapper is Dellenbach, an excellent field goal snapper. So
for the Dolphins, if successful, they go 5-2 and have sole possession of first in the AFC East.
Hey, watch him jumping! Watch him jumping!
yeah, he's still in the line judge. Don't let him jump.
Miami moves into first place in the East. A heartbreaking loss for the Los Angeles Raiders in a game packed with deep emotion, intense at times. Former high school all-star teammates Dan Marino and Jeff Hostetler know best of all. Stoyanovich set up on the left hash mark, drills it down the middle from 29. His reputation tough in the clutch, and he proves that once again. Jim Arnold had the best view. Dan Marino worked hard for this win. Not one of his prettiest games, 17 for 37. But what counts is that big W they're going to hang up in the Monday morning standings. Meanwhile, the Raiders, as you said, that trip home on that big 747, I would guess there are going to be a lot of little meetings, yes, a lot of talking.
Agreed.
And perhaps even one big meeting. A tough one for Art Shell's team. They go 2-4. Did not have a chance in overtime. Hall of Fame coach, a Hall of Fame owner. Better than any words. Miami prevails in overtime. We'll be right back to Joe Robbie. We're back with the employee owners of Avis saluting the game's most valuable player, number 30 of the Miami Dolphins, Bernie Parmalee. He rushed for 150 yards today, the 7th best in Miami Dolphin history. Parmalee, who was a free agent pick 3 years ago by Don Shula, said the kid just hustles all the time. He's the kind of man I want on my team. He had great foresight. Parmalee and Miami have won in overtime 20-17. Coming up next on NBC, don't miss the exciting conclusion of the Skills Challenge as 8 of golf's top players continue their competition. Short game, iron shots, bunker shots, and putting. So for Bob Trumpy and Hannah Storm, I'm Dick Henberg saying so long from Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida. This has been a presentation of NBC Sports in our 30th year of covering the NFL.